Okay, brothers and sisters, here go another article that we want to actually post. Uninitiated GOP insiders scared of Trump because he didn't belong to the secret society. Paul Joseph Watson, March 4th, 2016, Infowar.com. Comments. This article was written by Paul Joseph Watson and originally published at Infowar.com. Editor's comment. It is somewhat surprising that Newt Gingrich, who himself belonged to Bohemia Grove, would discuss secret society openly on Fox News. But the fact remains that the insider and the establishment are indeed opposed to any candidate who isn't initiated, trapped, or otherwise vetted and pledged to their hidden agenda, and above appealing to the interests of average Americans. The Bushes and Clintons have epitomized membership in these elite secret societies with Bohemia Grove, Skull and Bones, Bilderberg, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and other insider groups backing their rise to political power and placing ranking members inside the cabinet and administration of such presidents. Is it any wonder that such a self-serving system is failing or falling apart as the public become more aware of how things really work? Greenwich establishment scared of Trump because he didn't belong to the secret society. Paul Joseph Watson, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, told Fox News Bill O'Reilly last night that the establishment is scared of Donald Trump because he didn't belong to a secret society and wasn't involved in any of the ritual associations with such groups. Let's hear what he has to say.
And now they're faced with a very real prospect of Donald Trump becoming the leader of the party, and it absolutely drives them crazy. They just cannot imagine sharing. Well, because he's an outsider. He's not them. He's not part of the club. He's uncontrollable. He hasn't been through the initiation rites. He didn't belong to the secret society. And I think that they don't see him. They have no idea how to relate to him.
You heard it for yourself, brothers and sisters. That's the top secret leak that was on Facebook. He didn't belong to the secret society. Discussing Mitt Romney anti-Trump speech yesterday, Gingrich says it represented the panic of the establishment wing of the Republican Party, and that the prospect of Trump becoming the nominee absolutely drives them crazy. When asked why, Gingrich responded, well, because he's an outsider. He's not them. He's not part of the club. He uncontrollably, he hasn't been through the initiation rites. He didn't belong to the secret society. Gingrich is in a perfect position to know about secret societies, given his affiliation with Bohemia Grove, an annual encampment that takes place every year in Monte Rio, California, and is attended by some of the most powerful people in the world. Gingrich photograph is featured in the Annals of the Bohemian Club, Volume 7, 1987 to 1996, alongside George W. Bush and his father. What about that? It says Battle of the Philippine Seas. The former Speaker of the House could also be referring to Skulls and Bones, a secret society at Yale which counts among its members both George W. and John Kerry, who ran against each other in the 2004 presidential election. Skull and Bones is notorious for its initiation ritual, which according to some include masturbating in a coffin. In 2001, journalist Ron Rosenbaum became the first outsider to witness some of the rituals. Video footage of the ceremony shows bonesmen screaming while they kissed the skull and performed a mock murder. ABC News Skull and Bones ritual court. And this is what this has to say.
This evening, getting under the skin of the Ivy League, those 8 old, definitely distinguished colleges that are known for their ivy-covered buildings and their sometimes superior attitudes to other colleges and universities, which often gets under the skin of people who went elsewhere. Yale University is 300 years old this year, and were you to visit its campus, you would see that it still has exotic clubhouses, which look like tombs where Yale's legendary secret societies meet. Their prestige and importance have largely evaporated, but the rituals are still a secret. And so when we heard that some enterprising characters had managed to spy on the famous Skull and Bones Society, well, we couldn't resist. Here's ABC's Dan Harris.
The videotape provides a grainy glimpse into what appear to be the initiation rituals of a secret society that's been around since 1832, whose members have gone on to be leaders of Wall Street and the White House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court.
They're sort of trying to scare the initiates, make them, disorient them, frighten them.
New York Observer investigative reporter Ron Rosenbaum accompanied a team of Yale students who shot these pictures 9 days ago. Rosenbaum's curiosity about Skull and Bones was permanently piqued when, as a classmate of George W. Bush, he lived right next to the tomb.
You can go on YouTube for yourself and see the graphic pictures for yourself. I personally want to hear more about the issue of injustice in the United States. And Senator Elizabeth Warren spoke on these issues at a presidential conference. Listen to what she has to say.
Equal justice under law. That's supposed to be the basic premise of our legal system, that our laws are just and that everyone, no matter how rich or how powerful or how well connected, will be held equally accountable if they break those laws. But that's not the America we live in. It's not equal justice when a kid gets thrown in jail for stealing a car, while a CEO gets a huge raise when his company steals billions. It's not equal justice when someone hooked on opioids gets locked up for buying pills on the street, but bank executives get off scot-free for laundering nearly $1 billion of drug cartel money. We have one set of law in the books, but there are really 2 legal systems. One legal system is for big corporations, for the wealthy and the powerful. In this legal system, government officials fret about unintended consequences if they're too tough. In this legal system, instead of demanding actual punishment for breaking the law, the government regularly accepts token fines and phony promises to do better next time. In this legal system, even after huge companies plead guilty to felonies, law enforcement officials are so timid that they don't even bring charges against individuals who work there. That's one system. The second system is for everyone else. In this second system, whoever breaks the law can be held accountable. Government enforcement isn't timid here. It's aggressive. Consequences be damned. Just ask the families of Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, and Michael Brown about how aggressive they are. In this legal system, the government locks up people for decades, ruining lives over minor drug crimes, because that's what the law demands. Yes, there are 2 legal systems, one for the rich and powerful, and one for everyone else. The American people know that we have 2 legal systems, but they expect us to fix it. They expect us to stand for justice. They expect us to once again honor the simple notion that in America, nobody is above the law. And anyone in Congress who thinks they can simply talk tough on crime and then vote to make it harder to crack down on corporate criminals, hear this. I promise you, the American people are watching, and they will remember. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield.
Senator Elizabeth Warren, February 3rd. Epic mic drop on our rigid justice system. So do we think Donald Trump is going to change the injustice in this country? Or is he just going to make it whiter? That's the question we must ask ourselves. So once again, I question America. Should America have "In God We Trust" posted in the courtroom walls or even on the money? It is appropriate for us at this time to bring on President Obama, who reminds Trump fans, your ancestors were once unwelcome refugees too. How quickly we forget, in fact, the Germans and Irish were once hated immigrants. Listen to President Obama speak.
A century ago, New York City shops displayed those signs, "No Irish need apply." Catholics were targeted, their loyalty questioned. So much so that as recently as the 1950s and 60s, when JFK had to run, he had to convince people that his allegiance wasn't primarily to the Pope. Chinese immigrants faced persecution and vicious stereotypes and were for a time even banned from entering America. During World War II, German and Italian residents were detained, and in one of the darkest chapters in our history, Japanese immigrants and even Japanese forced from their homes and imprisoned in camps. We succumbed to fear. We betrayed not only our fellow Americans, but our deepest values. We betrayed these documents. It's happened before. And the biggest irony, of course, was that those who betrayed these values were themselves the children of immigrants. How quickly we forget. One generation passes, two generations passes, and suddenly we don't remember where we came from. And we suggest that somehow there is us and there is them. Not remembering we used to be them. On days like today, we need to resolve never to repeat mistakes like that again.